Moguls. They were born with the dawn of alpine skiing. One or two, perhaps, scattered in places where a few pioneering souls happened to make a turn in the very same spot. Then suddenly, one crisp winter day, when it seemed like the whole town came out to try on this new activity, the hill began to change in complexion. There were gullies and ditches and hollowed-out places. And these once smooth pastures and trails gave rise to a new kind of thrill, where skiers could dart and dodge and fly through the air and dance from the tops of these bumps, which would later become known as moguls. The mogul fields of today have grown tougher with age. These steep and bumpy descents are ruthless tests of a skier's skill. With seemingly relentless patience, the bumps seek out, magnify, and display brilliantly to the world our imperfections in technique. Forgetting a pole plant when the slope is smooth may never be noticed. Forgetting it in the bumps may never be forgotten. Today's mogul skiers are some of the finest skiers on this planet. They are exploding into new dimensions of skiing and redefining our understanding of skiing technique. International World Cup competition has evolved into a highly technical event demanding disciplined, year-round training. Witnessing the dazzling performance of a gifted skier in the moguls can be both inspiring and somewhat mystifying. Their ability to descend such steep and rugged terrain with style and control often defies our conception of efficient technique. And we wonder, as we watch the movements of accomplished mogul skiers, as they bend and twist, absorbing ruts and walls of snow, sometimes arcing turns and sometimes not. What are the fundamentals of a mogul skier's skills? What are these people really doing to turn their skis? Skiing is a balance sport. Like someone walking a tightrope, it requires continual adjustments in balance. For those who have acquired a finer sense of balance on their skis, turning is easier. Better skiers appear more relaxed as they react to the terrain with brief, conservative movements. These skiers are continually exploring the sensations of balance in their search for a more efficient method of turning. Few turns in skiing appear more graceful than the long radius turn. There is more time to create turning forces on the skis and more time to react to the requirements of balance than the short radius turns allow. Long radius turns for the mogul skier are a time to warm up, like that crucial preparation of stretching and loosening up that all serious athletes do before the big game. Well, perhaps the greatest difference distinguishing a long radius turn from a short radius turn is the quickness of movement. Short radius turns require swifter, more rapid motions. For the mogul skier, who must attempt to control his speed and maintain a balanced stance over steep, bumpy terrain, the short radius turn is indispensable. As we shall see, economical short radius turns are the cornerstone of efficient mogul skiing.
Hi, I'm Peter Jacobs from the Killington Ski School. You know, most skiers see themselves as having very few problems when the hill they are skiing is smooth. Even when it steepens, a smooth hill offers you plenty of time to complete your turns and maintain control than if that same hill were covered with tightly spaced moguls. The bumps can really put your skills as a skier to the test. Unlike a smooth hill where often you are able to ignore slight imperfections in your technique, the moguls will quickly force those bad habits into awareness. They're going to shine for you and the world to see. With more understanding of what to do, moguls become less of an obstacle. You will see that everyone can find in their own technique a smooth method for negotiating the bumps. Efficient mogul skiing is the product of making good turns and taking the correct line of descent. The first guiding principle is to diminish the amount of time your tips point down the hill. Specifically, this means reducing the amount of time and distance of the first half of each turn. Let's take a look. The basic problem of mogul skiing is speed control. Wherever you are skiing, in order to slow down, you must turn. In the bumps, because space is limited, you can only control your speed with short turns. A mogul skier keeps his upper body moving down the hill while his skis are continually pointing back and forth across the fall line. Looking at a medium radius turn in slow motion, it becomes apparent that every turn has two distinct parts. In the first half, the tips point down the hill and the skis accelerate. It is only in the second half, when the tips point back across the fall line, that the skis slow down. Prolong the first half of a turn, you gain speed. Prolong the second half, and you slow down. If you shorten the first half of each turn and keep your tips pointing back and forth across the hill most of the time, it is easy to move slowly down a steep hill. Short turns like these are the basis for good mogul skiing. The only way to ski the bumps in control is to remain in the fall line. Obviously, traversing is not the answer. Traveling back and forth across the hill forces you to climb up and down the sides of each bump. It can make you feel like a ship being tossed on a stormy sea. Traversing forces you to psychologically back off. And besides, it could make you a little seasick. So the first task is to keep the tips of your skis moving back and forth across the fall line without traversing for even an instant. Doing this requires the ability to turn quickly and to briefly slow your speed with each turn. Your skis will carve when they are tipped onto edge and pressed into what is called reverse camber. Many bump skiers think of it like riding a skateboard down a steep road. Like a skateboard, your skis will turn back into the hill and slow down when flexed. In order to flex your skis, you've got to move vertically. Rising up will lighten your skis. This is the time to turn them. While sinking down will put the pressure on, pressing them to the snow, and if they're edged, they will bend and carve into the hill. Think of it as your ski's brake system. In the moguls, you have to continually pump your brakes. Suction turns are a great exercise for learning to deaccelerate quickly. I like to call them suction turns because you should feel as though you're being sucked or pulled to the snow towards the end of each turn.
Suction turns are simply an exaggeration of the necessary movements in mogul skiing. They are the foundation for building a good technique. Start down at an easy pace, rise up, letting your hands guide you out in front. When you are fully extended, turn the skis and immediately sink down with your hands below your knees. The trick is not to try pressing or edging very hard. You should stay relaxed and your body should feel as though it were being sucked to the surface of the snow. Let the skis skid sideways in the first few turns. Concentrate on staying balanced and moving all the way up and all the way down. Next, smoothly change the skis from skidding flat on the snow to carving forward on their edges. Relax your body downward. Stay balanced as the skis begin to track forward. You should now try linking turns without traversing more than a few feet across the hill. Now add a pole plant at the end of each turn, which is actually the beginning of the next turn. Imagine yourself skiing within a narrow lane, continually turning, slowing briefly with each turn, and maintaining the same speed. The most common fault of all mogul skiers is a lack of vertical motion. Moving up and down is crucial to smoothing out the bumps and, more importantly, for controlling your speed. Speed up a suction turn and you have a good mogul turn. The mogul turn involves total motion. The body is moving up and down and the skis are continually pointing back and forth across the hill. Many mogul skiers like to train on a steep, smooth face using this exercise. Fitting these turns to the bumps is easy when you perceive each bump as having a flat spot on the uphill side. At each bump, it is crucial to have your ski tips pointing across the hill and be moving downward. Rise up, turn the skis between each bump, and sink downward as the ski tips approach the next bump. The trick here is to maintain continual motion. Always be moving up or down, and keep the skis turning to the left or the right. If there happens to be a long space to the next bump, fake it and sneak a turn in as if a bump were there. Maintaining rhythmic and symmetrical turns will help you keep a balanced descent going. At every bump, it's crucial that you have your ski tips pointing across the hill. You want to be here or this way. The last thing you want to do is run your tips straight into the bump. Here's Donna warming up for competition. Notice how her skis never run straight into a bump. This, combined with great vertical motion, gives Donna a relaxed and almost effortless looking style.
Moving all the way up and all the way down is the only way you'll be able to turn your skis efficiently in the bumps. The minute you stop moving up and down, you're going to lose it. A mogul skier is always searching for the inside edge of his downhill ski. And one of the quickest ways to get into your turns is to make a slight step with your uphill ski.
After you have dropped down at the completion of one turn, as you begin to rise up, step the uphill ski onto the inside edge. This slight step gets you onto the downhill ski faster and further towards the end of the next turn. At slow speeds, it is an easy and efficient way to make quick turns. As your speed increases, the width of the step begins to disappear. Absorbing the bumps will occur more naturally when you continue to sink downward with each turn. As your tips approach the bump, you should be nearing the finish of a turn and moving lower. Allow your knees to relax, absorbing the bump, and then quickly extend, pressing the tips of your skis onto the back side of the mogul. It is important that you continually think of pressing the tips back to the snow. The more time you are able to keep the tips of your skis smoothly in contact with the snow, the better you will be at absorbing the terrain and remaining in balance. Maintaining an erect but relaxed upper body will facilitate your ability to absorb the bumps and turn quickly. From the hips up, a mogul skier's body faces quietly down the hill, allowing his feet to move out from underneath him with each turn.
Efficient hand position will stabilize your upper body. Think of your head and hands as forming a triangle. Keeping the base of your triangle, your hands, level will help to establish a stable upper body. Although the width of your hands is a matter of comfort and personal efficiency, it's really important that you never allow your hands to drop behind your hips.
Losing a hand will pull your balance backwards. Using only your wrist to plant your poles is one of the best ways to keep your hands out in front. With each pole plant, your wrist should remain relaxed, allowing your hands to fall forward. As one wrist relaxes forward, the other wrist should be moving the tip of the pole forward in preparation for the next turn. The tip of one pole or the other should always be moving forward with quick, successive turns through the bumps.
A wristy pole plant will really help to keep your feet quick and your body loose in the bumps. Because they require so much of your balance, the bumps can really improve your overall skiing. But take it easy. Spend the morning cruising the smoother trails, letting your body warm up naturally. And then head for the bumps and grind it out for a few hours. I like to think of it as a workout, like a tough tennis match. Work hard, sweat, and then head for the showers.
The mountain will always be your best teacher. The challenge of an endless variety of terrain both improves and continually tests your skills as an alpine skier. It is the moguls, however, which present skiing's final examination. There is no cheating here. The bumps will quickly uncover those slight imperfections which you might otherwise be able to hide. But the quest for personal satisfaction, the drive to beat the mountain at its own game, and to honestly know you're becoming a better skier are what make the bumps so attractive, so magnetic, and yet so difficult, because they are such an honest appraisal of skillful skiing. There are times when suddenly it will feel right. For an instant you understand, and then, just as suddenly it disappears. So you go on, exploring the mountain, yourself, searching for that feeling. But all this time, you're getting closer. The mountain itself has been teaching you, because it happens again, that feeling. But this time with more permanence. Along the edge of a trail, perhaps you discover the perfect line of bumps. Now, for 20 yards, you have never felt so light on a trail so tough. Here, you can fit each turn neatly into the troughs, skip onto the top of a few big bumps, or just nick the sides of a few others. You own these bumps. They were built for you.